And then Mr. Shoyama, we've already received some comments from you, but you have also been active in the business world, and I hear you talking about that Japan's presence in the world is lowering, and also Japan's population is also aging and increasing. And that is even more reason for developing better human resources. Well, since this was an international conference, I didn't want to explain too much about Japan's weaknesses, but because I think that Japan's strengths is in the trust that we have built in the past, and also the reliable products that we have built in the past. I think this is a very important part of our culture. I have been involved in manufacturing for a very long time, so I think that products are really honest. Sometimes people tend to cheat, but in order for that not to happen, I just hope that universities can really nurture this honesty and integrity in the students. We have been nurturing this thought in Japanese culture for a very long time. And so in manufacturing, I often say that we need to think about our customers.
And to pay attention to every single detail so that the product is fine-tuned to all the needs of the customers. I think that this is the asset of our Japanese culture. And I think this is also important in the education here. And even in society, well, in Japan, at one time, the business community was very active, and the companies were wanting the students to come to the companies as early as possible so that we would train them, the young people. But these times have changed, and we're relying on the university schools to develop professionals and give us professionals. Meaning that we are hiring more and more people overseas and not here in Japan. Well, as Mr. Kitashiro is saying, we need to develop Olympians. Unless so, we'll be in trouble in the future. Thank you. Well, I think Tokyo Tech's education is based on Japan's culture and tradition, whereas MIT and UC Berkeley are different. Well, we should learn from them, but we should not just copy what is being done in other countries. That was my interpretation of what you've said. Yes, and the students, well, they tend to... Well, earlier, I think it was the MIT professor who said that, the young people's attitude is changing these days. You think that the students are different from the past? Yes, I feel the same thing. And, well, as time changes, the students' emotions will change, but there are things that must not change. And we have to make sure that it does not change. Thank you very much. There are a number of things that we would like to continue to discuss, and I'm sure that there are other things that we could cover, but unfortunately time seems to be almost up. So could we ask our three speakers to give us their last comments?
To the final time, so we'd like to ask to the Professor Grimson and Gronsky and also Professor Mishima give us a final comment on these days' discussions. Could you please start from Grimson?
I hope what you've heard today is that we all share, I think, some very similar views. And if I may, very briefly to the last comment about ethics, I totally agree that we need ethics in all of our classes, but to bring it back up to a higher level, I think all of our institutions have similar views. Our students are different. We need to train the next generation of leaders. If we do not do this, it doesn't matter which country we're from, we're not succeeding. And those leaders need to have skills that are interdisciplinary, that have leadership, that have communication abilities, and that innovate in order to create the next set of things. As I said last night to President Mishima, I applaud you for what you're trying to do, because I think this is a very important thing. I think MIT is doing a similar thing. So that is, how do we think about training this next generation of students to have these skills? How do we change the way we teach? How do we change the way we interact with them? But I think what you've heard here today is we're all facing those same challenges, and we're all looking for related ways to make it happen. And I think you will see major changes in top institutions anywhere in the world over the next 2, 3, 4 years as we move towards these new ways of thinking things. And I look forward to seeing what Tokyo Tech is doing 2 years from now to make this really different when you launch your program.
I would only add that I also think that President Mishima is a man of vision. He sees the need for change, as we all do. We also understand that change is very, very difficult. It's difficult particularly when you have a long and rich tradition. These are the points I was trying to make in my presentation, that the balance between tradition and innovation is the key here. How can you achieve innovation if you don't give up some of the tradition? And maybe another and better way of saying it is, we must all make innovation part of our tradition. It's time to begin. You're on a very, very tight schedule. and again, in the academic profession, we are typically running on much longer time constants. So as you work together and collaborate with one another, please feel free to reach out to some of your colleagues over the Pacific Ocean. We are going through this as well, as you've heard. This is an incredibly difficult time for all of us in the academic profession, difficult in the sense that we face challenges we haven't seen before. And these challenges are not going to diminish. They're only going to get worse. It's time we get started. I also look forward to the success that you will have. I hope it's on the time frame that you want to achieve it. I wish you all the best, and I will be looking to this particular Berkeley graduate to make us proud.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm very much encouraged. After this, I speak Japanese, so could you? Yeah.
Well, the university reform that we are about to pursue is in itself very difficult. But as Mr. Kitashiro said, we are about to take part in an Olympics. We may not be able to gain a medal very soon, but unless we start now, we will never be able to gain a medal. That is the kind of urgency that I feel. And well, maybe the entrance exam is bad, but at least we have very excellent students coming into our university who have passed that examination, and we need to nurture them. That is our responsibility. So we want to motivate them, make sure that they have a vision to change the world, to make the world a better place. And we want them to study for that purpose, and that is our task. And that is what we will continue to do. Thank you very much. With this, we would like to end the panel discussion. And I believe Professor Nohara will have something to say, or can I go on to wrap up? Okay, then thank you very much once again. With this, we'd like to close the panel discussion.
Thank you
very much to the panelists and to moderators. Please return to your seats.
Warmly thank all of the panelists and moderators. Please go back and take your seats.